Let's get right into it. Number 10. The blue. Picture this. It's 1997, and a team of scientists is listening to the deep, dark, and supposedly silent Pacific Ocean. Suddenly, a sound erupts through their hydrophone's underwater microphones, are over 3,000 miles apart. It's not a whale, it's not a submarine, it's bloop, a really, really loud bloop. This ultra-low frequency sound was so powerful, it was dubbed simply the bloop, and for years, nobody knew what it was. The sound was similar to a marine animal's, but it was far louder than any known creature in the ocean. Naturally, everyone's mind went straight to a massive, undiscovered sea monster, a real-life Cthulhu, gargling saltwater in the abyss. For over a decade, the bloop was one of the ocean's most tantalizing and terrifying mysteries. The truth, when it finally came out, was almost as strange. In 2005, scientists finally identified the source. It was the sound of a massive ice quake, an iceberg cracking and breaking away from a glacier in Antarctica. So, no, it wasn't a city-sized leviathan. It was just a continent-sized chunk of ice having a very bad day. Basically, the planet itself is groaning, and it sounds like a monster waking up. Comforting, right? Number 9. Milky Sea. Imagine you're a sailor hundreds of years ago crossing the Indian Ocean on a moonless night. Suddenly, the dark water around you starts to glow. Not just sparkle, but glow with a continuous, eerie, milky white light from horizon to horizon. You'd probably think you'd sailed off the edge of the world and into a sea of ghosts. This phenomenon, known as a Milky Sea, has been reported by mariners for centuries and was often dismissed as a tall tale. But it's very real. We now know this ghostly glow is caused by bioluminescent bacteria, trillions of them, all lighting up at once in a process called quorum sensing. When enough of them get together, they decide to throw a rave. The scale is what's truly mind-bending. In 1995, a satellite captured an image of a Milky Sea off the coast of Somalia that was the size of Connecticut. Scientists still don't fully understand why these bacteria congregate in such massive numbers to create these glowing seas. So, for now, it's just a beautiful, slightly unsettling reminder that the ocean is basically a giant, mysterious petri dish. Number 8. Rogue waves. Of probably seen disaster movies with giant waves, but you might have brushed them off as Hollywood exaggeration. Well, the ocean would like a word. Rogue waves, also known as killer waves, are not just real. They are terrifyingly unpredictable. These aren't tsunamis, which are caused by earthquakes. These are colossal, solitary waves that can be more than twice the size of the surrounding waves and can appear out of nowhere, even in calm seas. For centuries, they were considered maritime folklore, the stuff of sailors' nightmares. Then, in 1995, a nearly 85-foot-high wave was measured at an oil platform off the coast of Norway, and science finally had to admit that the sailors were right all along. Scientists believe these waves form when smaller waves merge, or when currents and winds conspire to create a single, monstrous wall of water. They look like a wall of water with an unusually deep trough in front of them. So, if you're ever on a boat and see what looks like a liquid mountain coming at you from the wrong direction, it's not your imagination, it's just the ocean, deciding to randomly violate the laws of physics in your immediate vicinity. Number 7. The Brinick Loo. Know what an icicle is, that pointy, dripping thing that hangs off your roof in winter. Now, imagine one of those, but underwater. And instead of just being frozen water, it's a downward growing tube of super salty, super cold brine that freezes everything it touches. This is a brinicle, or a finger of death, and it's one of the ocean's most bizarre and deadly phenomena. It happens in the polar regions when sea ice forms. The salt from the freezing water gets concentrated into a dense, freezing brine that is much colder than the surrounding seawater. Because it's so dense, it sinks. As it sinks, it freezes the less salty water it comes into contact with, creating a hollow ice tube around the descending plume of brine. When this icy finger hits the seafloor, it doesn't stop. It continues to spread, creating a web of ice that instantly freezes and kills any slow-moving creature in its path, like starfish and sea urchins. It's like a slow-motion, underwater version of the Midas touch, but instead of gold, everything turns to a frozen tomb. It's a perfect beautiful and utterly ruthless display of nature's quiet brutality. Number 6. Hydrothermal vents deep on the ocean floor. Thousands of feet below the surface, where sunlight has never reached, you'd expect to find nothing, just cold, crushing darkness. Instead, you find bustling cities of life clustered around what look like underwater volcanic chimneys spewing black, toxic smoke. These are hydrothermal vents, and they are arguably the weirdest places on Earth. The smoke is actually superheated water weir, talking over 750 degrees Fahrenheit, with minerals like sulfur from deep within the Earth's crust. The pressure at that depth is so immense that the water doesn't boil. It just becomes a supercritical fluid. And here's the kicker. Life thrives here. Not just bacteria, but giant tube worms, some over 6 feet long, with no mouth and no digestive tract, just bright red plumes. They survive through a process called chemosynthesis, where bacteria convert the toxic chemicals from the vents into energy. It's a completely alien ecosystem that doesn't rely on the sun at all. It's a reminder that life doesn't need light and warmth to exist. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of poison and a whole lot of pressure. Number 5. The ocean's false bottom. Imagine you're in a submarine, using sonar to map the ocean floor. You're getting a clear reading of the bottom at about 1,500 feet. But as night falls, the bottom starts to rise. It ascends hundreds of feet, getting closer and closer to the surface, only to sink back down again at dawn. Are you hallucinating? Is the ocean floor haunted? Nope. You've just discovered the deep scattering layer, or the ocean's false bottom. This isn't land at all. It's a massive, densely packed layer of living creatures, countless small fish, squid, and crustaceans, so thick that it reflects sonar signals and tricks them into thinking it's the solid seabed. Every single day, this colossal biomass performs the largest migration on the planet. At dusk, they swim up from the depths to feed in the nutrient-rich surface waters, and at dawn, they retreat back into the abyss to hide from predators. We're talking about millions of tons of animals moving in perfect unison, creating a living, breathing, shifting floor in the middle of the ocean. So the next time you look at a map of the ocean floor, just remember, it might not be the whole story. There's a secret, moving layer they didn't tell you about. Number 4. The Point of Nemo. There's a place on this planet that is, officially, the middle of nowhere. It's called the Oceanic Pole of Inaccessibility, or more poetically, Point Nemo, named after Captain Nemo from Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This spot in the South Pacific is the single point on Earth farthest from land in any direction. The nearest dry land is over 1,670 miles away. If you were to find yourself floating at Point Nemo, the closest human beings would likely be the astronauts orbiting above you on the International Space Station, which is only about 250 miles up. It's so remote, so utterly isolated, space agencies around the world have designated it as a spacecraft cemetery. When old satellites and space stations are deorbited, this is where they are sent to crash, ensuring they don't accidentally land on someone's house. So, the bottom of the ocean, at the most remote point on Earth, is littered with the wreckage of humanity's adventures into the final frontier. It's a cosmic graveyard at the bottom of the sea, a place where our celestial ambitions go to die, peacefully and far, far away from everything. Number 3. The Great Whirlove herd of hurricanes and tornadoes, those swirling vortexes of wind and chaos. The ocean has its own version, but instead of lasting for a few days, it can last for months, and instead of being made of air, it's a massive, spinning whirlpool of water the size of a small country. One of the most famous is the Great Whirl, which appears off the coast of Somalia every summer. This is not your average bathtub drain. This is a gigantic eddy, a swirling gyre that can be over 300 miles wide and spins with such force that it dramatically alters the local sea level, creating a dome of water in its center. It's driven by the powerful monsoon winds, which essentially whip the ocean into a frenzy, creating a self-sustaining vortex that becomes a dominant feature of the entire region. For centuries, sailors knew to avoid this area at certain times of the year, fearing the whirlpools that could trap and disorient ships. They weren't wrong. The Great Whirl is a stark reminder that the ocean isn't just a big, placid body of water. It's a dynamic, powerful fluid with its own weather systems. seasons, and a temper that would make a hurricane look like a mild breeze. Number 2. The Baltic Sea anomaly in 2011. A team of Swedish oceanographers was using sonar to search for old shipwrecks on the floor of the Baltic Sea. What they found instead was weird. Their sonar returned an image of a massive, circular object about 200 feet in diameter, with what appeared to be strange, rigid features like ramps, stairs, and other structures that didn't look natural. The media, naturally, went wild. Was it a sunken UFO? A lost city from a forgotten civilization? The Millennium Falcon. The Baltic Sea anomaly became an internet sensation. When the team went back with a remotely operated vehicle, things only got stranger. Their electrical equipment mysteriously failed as they got close to the object. Divers who reached it described the surface as being like granite, but with a texture that felt almost artificial. Samples later revealed it was just rock, a glacial deposit dragged into a weird shape by ancient ice flows. And the equipment failures, likely just a coincidence. Or was it? The official explanation is perfectly logical, but the image is so bizarre, so perfectly sci-fi, that it's hard to shake the feeling that the ocean is hiding something down there and it's just messing with us. Number 1. The sound of the Mariana Trench. Think the deepest part of the ocean. The Mariana Trench would be a place of profound, crushing silence. It's nearly 7 miles deep, a place of eternal darkness and unimaginable pressure. Nothing should be able to make a peep down there, right? Well, in 2015, a team of researchers from NOAA, Oregon State University, and the U.S. Coast Guard decided to find out. They built a special titanium-encased hydrophone capable of withstanding the pressure and dropped it into the abyss. They were expecting to hear, at best, the faint rumble of an earthquake or the distant song of a whale. What they got was a cacophony. The trench wasn't silent, it was noisy. They recorded the distinct sounds of earthquakes, both near and far, the moans of baleen whales, and even the sound of a typhoon raging on the surface miles above. The sound travels so efficiently through the dense water that the trench acts like an echo chamber, capturing noises from all over the ocean. But the weirdest sound they captured was a bizarre 5-part call that went from super low moans to a high-pitched metallic finale. They called it the Western Pacific Biotwang. They still don't know what makes it, but the leading theory is a new type of baleen whale call, never heard before. So, the most remote alien place on our planet isn't a silent void, it's a concert hall for mysterious sea creatures and the groaning of the earth itself. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.